what would it mean to embody abolitionist teaching in a practical way? So like, we've kind of talked about, it not being, lip service or like putting up a person of color for, I don't know.
Yeah, like representation purposes.
Yeah,
like
for representation purposes.
Put a black scientist on a slide and
exactly.
call it cultural responsibility.
Exactly, which people do. But like, what is it exactly? But like, what does it look like, in a meaningful way? I think a part of it, and you got at this earlier, is just like you understanding the culture. Like, you might not use the word snake, but if you got, 40, 50 different students that are black or brown that use that word, you should know what it means, And I think it's not even about anything but you just being intentional about wanting to understand, the ways in which the students that you teach communicate so that you can communicate to them in the same way.
And what you're making me also think about is like the practicality of abolitionist teaching in my mind looks like disrupting hierarchy and how we think about, and like referring to our first episode of Pedagogy of the Oppressed, like as opposed to the banking model, thinking about the ways in which you actually, if I am a person that does not look like my students, the majority of my students, I actually need to be more curious. I actually need to ask more questions about things to build my own knowledge production around the culture of my students. And so in the instance of a student shares something, as opposed to making assumptions that are rooted in your schema, your whiteness, you're asking questions about what does that mean so that you can make meaning and make connections for students and do that labor to be like, oh, I'm not familiar with that. And because you all are, and it seems to be something that everybody in the space is aware of, let me make a connection to it.
Yeah.